All right, part four, I think, or part five of the Infinity. So people were saying, why in the world did it take you like 10 hours to bend the main hoop? And it took that long because I wanted it to fit like that. And I didn't realize, because I don't know if you've ever sat in a race car where there's not a lot of headroom around the cage, or the cage is put in a way that the uprights or the front longitudinals either block or double the width. Like imagine if I put a post right about there, that would make that A pillar up there wider on the passenger side. And when you're looking from here across the A pillar, all of a sudden it's wider, right? And look what it cuts off. Or it's out here and it's right. So you actually have to make the A pillar on the left and right side of the car different. So this one will come in closer to back in here. That one will be phased. Well, you'll see when we get to that point. And then we'll probably take out this big bar in here. And since it's 1.75 inches over there, it's going to make it super easy to make the knee bar out of that. And we'll either take these pieces and stuff and graft them in to the new knee bar, or we will we'll just replace the whole upper half of the column. One of the two. I'd like to replace the whole upper half of the column, but knowing that we may need lights and we for sure, almost positively will need wipers. I'd like to leave the stocks on here, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, so we have Bentech and all that stuff, but to get it really fit, I went old school. And this is making templates. So I basically took our die and came up with the outside, the radius to the outside, not actually the circle radius of the die, which this is a 6-inch radius die. So instead of using the typical way where, you make a 90 and then measure the radius, and that's a 6-inch radius die, I just measured to the outside of the tube, which on this is like 6-inch, 700 and something, right? And then I made the template, the first one. This was my first one. Actually, my very first one was like a lollipop looking thing, or a pea. It was shaped like that. It was one of these and another one of these. And I put, to get this first angle right here, which is 23 degrees. Actually, it's 20 degrees. I'll explain that in a minute. But what we did was I put a hole right there, center line hole, took another one like this, another disc like this, set it on top of here, and made a full-scale protractor. So I was able to figure this angle by actually putting it in the car, right? So I set it up in that side. Well, this is the opposite side. I did it on the passenger side, though. So I put it right here. The circle was like right here, and I created that angle, right? And I just moved it up and down until the center of my circle was kind of evened up where the arc was. I mean, you really can't tell because the aspect ratio of this camera, but it's almost perfect. And this, what I was fighting so long is I didn't realize the body, if you notice this gap right here, the body has a 3-degree pitch in it out that way. So every time I kept trying to hunt that angle right there of 23 degrees, it was actually 20 degrees and 3 degrees angle. So this actually isn't, you can sort of see it in this angle here. It's not perpendicular to the floor of the car. It's 3 degrees, 20 degrees, 67 degrees, right? And so anyways, once I had the first angle and I got to this one, then I set the other one up there and tried to, make a center to center here. It's basically just a little link bar piece of cardboard. And then I had the 2 protractor wheels, and I just set the angles, cut that out of a big piece of cardboard, whatever, right there. It was close, but this one is actually 23 degrees with this perpendicular to the top, which is wrong. So as you can see right there, right, 23 inches, 67, and then that 6.968, and that 208 is the actual material you add in the bend right there. So I made it just about 1 inch long, and then I wanted to put it up on the, you'll see where, oh gosh. I wanted to put it up right here because A couple reasons. They have a reinforcement in here that's super heavy. Let me go grab it. And it bolts in, and I want to weld it all together anyway. So I can weld it together, make it lighter, make it out of moly or structural steel. I mean, look at that thing. That thing is literally 2 feet of 1 3/4 tubing in weight. So all right, so what that means is I don't have to run a tube down to the floor, which is actually thinner down here than it is right here. So this part's a much better area to reinforce. You just got to get a little creative how you're going to do your floor plate. So we're going to go here, which allows us to tie the body in because the body's so tight. When we pull it in and actually make it fit, we're going to tack the B pillar to the main hoop in a few spots. Probably all the way up to the roof, down, and then down into the floor. And then we'll probably stitch weld the car right here, and we'll add something, some little type of gusset right there, and then out to, you can't see the box in there, but oh, there you can. There's an outboard reinforcement there that actually hooks to the rocker box. So we're going to tie this whole area in together. And then we got to look at where we're going to drop these from, which is a lot of discussion right now because you know, the Z, this is sort of different, and a lot of guys tie that side, you know, they tie the two together, and I'm thinking if I stitch weld what is in there, it might be lighter than a piece of 1 3/4 DOM, but if we go to a fuel cell, I'm going to need that in there so I can close that off. If not, we'll eventually take all this out and I'll run a bar just like they do on the Z's from right in here to right over there, from shock tower to shock tower, and I'll plate up the edge of the shock tower. But I don't know. I think I'm going to connect it somehow in here and then we'll figure it out. That'll be step 2, but that is why it took so long. I mean, you can see when it actually gets in play. It's right up in there. It's going to be perfect. I'll be able to put I'll just run the TIG right up there, grab it in there, a couple other spots, same thing on the other side, and get this car super rigid in the middle. And we might come across here in the halo with a triangulator to rigid the middle of the car in this area, because if we come from there to this pillar here, it's the same as, almost the same as having a cross brace in the floor or an X brace if we X brace the roof. So that's a possibility. I might not want to get it too rigid. I don't know. So a lot of thoughts still going on in this thing. Got to get a seat riser still. Got to get a floor platform down there. But the main hoop's in, or will be in shortly, and that is the hardest one to bend. After that, it's not too difficult. But incorporating this knee bar that'll take a little bit of work. But you can see it's 1 3/4, just super lightweight tin. So, but I could get rid of all this structure, depending on how much of the dash we keep. We want to keep some of it. I want it to look like a proper GT, even though it's a Lemon's car. So I still want to build a nice car that doesn't break down too much. You know, I mean, it'll probably have the same mechanical failures everybody else has because it's a 20-year-old car. Or, yeah, 22-year-old car. Anyways, yeah, door bars on this side of the car will be straight. Just straight across, normal twin bars going into the rocker box and then connected. So super basic on this side, and the other side will actually be probably more like Porsche Cup, which will be a drop bar, most likely. It'll come from high up here where it's protecting the shoulder. It'll drop down in and then drop, come across straight, and then come up here. So most likely the way we're going to do it, and then the second bar will just be down here. We'll connect the second bar together and then into the rocker box. So lots of stuff still to go. A little bit more floorboard stuff. You can see the mold that's still in this thing. That's it for today, guys. That is part 4, I think. And we'll have quite a bit of the cage, at least 5 points in it. by the weekend. We got 2 in. We'll get the crossbar in it now that we know about the harness height. We'll get that in it. The 2 down bars in the back, and probably one of the front bars made this week. So that's it, and that's my tip. You don't have to go to crazy programs and all that, because they usually don't work as well as the old school. Oh, one more thing. Once you make the left side, you just duplicate the right side, and then as you come across the middle, you make this as straight as you can, and then one of these stops right here and the other one stops like right here. So I was able to adjust the width of the entire cage, right, from the center to the center. I was just able to move them in or out, and I probably changed that center point 15 times before I got what I wanted. All right, that's it. Like, subscribe, typical stuff. Getting closer, guys.